Hello, this is Dr. Alan Yim. In this video, I'm going to show you how to write triads using the major scale. In the last video, I used major and minor thirds to create these triads. This time, it's going to be slightly different, and I'm going to presume that you know your key signatures. So first of all, quick review. We have four types of triads: major, minor, diminished, and augmented. In the last video, I showed you that these are basically stacked up thirds, and our triads look like this. Our system of harmony in Western music is built up of these thirds. There are other systems, but it's amazing how far they got with just this. Now, to create these using the major scale, all we have to do, I'm going to show you first of all how to create the major triad. Alright, so again, we're going to think in terms of do, mi, and so. So you have to think in terms of a key signature. So I'll pick a scale degree. Let's say B flat. I'm going to stack up the thirds. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to think in the key of B flat. So I'll write the key signature in. Well, B flat, you may remember, has two flats. So indeed, the bottom note needs a B flat. We'll take it out. The other two notes are already natural. They're in the key signature. So already I have a major triad. Okay, so I'm just going to label it like that. And here's what it sounds like. Okay? So it's do, mi, and so in solfege. It's 1, 3, and 5 in the major key. So we're thinking in terms of the major key and the first, third, and fifth scale degrees in order to create a major triad. I'll let you do one now. Let's do it in bass clef. Okay, so let's think in starting on E. I want you to think of how would you write, whoops, what am I doing? How would you write a major triad starting on E? So I'm going to label this one up here. This is an E major triad. This is a B flat major triad. So you're going to have to think in the key of E flat. Take a second to do that. Why did I say E flat? Let me erase that. E. Okay, so here we are. In the key of E, we have 4 sharps. I'll add those in. So fat cats go down. And you can remember that the last sharp tells you the key, because if you go up a half step from that D sharp, the key is E. Then I'm going to write in the other pitches of the triad, and I'm done. So now, if you didn't want to put all those accidentals in, because this part here is really just in your head. So what does it look like if I write this with accidentals? Well, it's E, G sharp, and B. Just like on the left side, if I were to write the chord by itself, it would be B flat, D, and F. Okay, so this is an E major triad, and this is a B flat major triad, and they sound... Sorry, this is bass clef, this is treble clef. They sound like this. That's the E major, and that's the B flat. Alright, but what about the other triads? Let's take a look at how this works now. From there, we can make the other triads. And this gets a little bit confusing, maybe, but not too. I'm going to do it in C major so you can see how the accidentals are being, what's being affected here. So this is do, mi, so in the key of C. So that's a major triad. If I want to make this into minor, well, we talked about minor scales, so you might be able to guess what we have to change here. Remember how we have to change the third degree of the scale? So this has to become E flat. So when we go from a major triad, if we want to make it into minor, we're going to lower, just like in the scale, 3. Scales and chords are kind of the same thing. I mean, chords are just basically part of the scale played at the same time. So not counting the altered ones. Okay, but here it is, minor. Now, to make the minor into diminished, we are going to lower the 5th degree of the scale. So here, we're going to keep the E flat, and now we're going to lower the 5th. So we're going to lower the G. And now, okay, so we started here in major. We lowered the 3rd to get minor, and we lowered the 5th to get diminished. You probably can guess where we're going to get the augmented. And this is easy to see because remember, these chords are related by half steps. Remember, we changed major thirds to minor thirds, so they're all interrelated. So here we are. To get to the augmented, we're going to raise up the 5th of the chord, and that creates 2 stacked major thirds. Alright? So just make sure you recognize that we're always starting, in this case, from the major, and then we're altering. So notice the direction of the arrows. Alright, but I'm going to play them now from left to right so you can hear what this sounds like. C diminished, C minor, C major, and then C augmented. Now I'm going to show you and ask you to write one. So here we go. Maybe I'll do this one in bass clef. Okay, let's try a new color here. How about if I wanted to write a diminished, how about D flat diminished? Alright, let's see how this would look. Okay, and if you want, you can pause it and try to figure it out yourself. But I'm going to try to write a D flat diminished chord. Take a second and see if you can figure this out. Okay, and here's how it works. So D flat, well, I want to start with major, and then I'll get over there. You don't have to write out all these steps. I'm writing it out so you can see it. Okay, so here we go. D flat major first. And we're going to have to think in the key of D flat. So D flat has 5 flats, bead, and then G, like right, B, G, C, F. But those are the 5 flats. So I'm going to put these in parentheses, and then I'll put them in actually by the chord. So it has a D flat and an A flat. So this is major. To get to minor, I'm going to lower the middle one. So now it's going to be D flat, F flat, A flat. Now, notice I don't stack up the flats on top of each other. Don't write it like this, right? Because if you do, it becomes very hard to see. So make sure you stagger your accidentals. All right? So I just did this. I'm going to leave that. Okay, so I lowered the 3rd, and this is going to be D flat minor. And now I want D flat diminished. So remember, as I go from here, minor, to diminished, I need to lower the 5th. I'm basically just copying from above. So flat, and this becomes double flat. So here's what it sounds like. That A double flat looks just like a G. It's enharmonic, meaning it has the same sound, but a different spelling. D flat, F flat, A double flat. Alright, a little nasty looking there. And for completeness sake, I'll go ahead and show you the augmented. So over on the right here, D flat, F flat, D flat, F, and then we're going to make that natural. Okay, because I'm putting bar lines here, I'm not going to write the natural. If you did want to write the natural, you probably would put it in parentheses like this, because it's what is called a courtesy accidental. You don't need to have it there. The bar line cancels out any accidentals that are not in the key signature. And I'm running now without a key signature. So there's the major, and if I make the A natural, There's the D flat augmented. Okay, so from left to right, diminished, minor, major, and augmented. That's it for right now. Go and try out writing out your 4 different types of triads using this method, starting with the major, do, mi, so, thinking in the key, the major key, and then altering that chord. As we go forward, of course, we will not be writing the chords using this method, but this is an excellent way to start so that you can see the relationship between the 4 different types of triads. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.